Mother's Day is just a few days away. This Sunday, actually. First, I want to say thank you to my wife for being a fantastic mom to our daughter. But I want to tell you about my mom. I get my sense of humor from my mom, and as I've gone through life, I've realized I get some of my artistic abilities from my mom naturally. Growing up in our home as a kid, I was one of 4 boys. In the morning, in our kitchen, chaos was usually the norm. My mom would do her best to make sure that there was a breakfast, that we were ready for the events of the day, and usually without exception, one of us would find ourselves in a headlock. That's right, a headlock. My mom, in small frame, not a large woman by stature, would find herself holding one of us in a headlock and squeezing and saying, "I'm in control." As we became older, my mom often would walk into a room, kind of hike up her shirt sleeve and flex that bicep and say, "I still have this, the guns are still here." When I got married and moved away, I lived at a great distance from my mom, and so I didn't see her as often. She would make trips to see me and me to see her. The interval of those interactions were drawn out because of distance. On this one occasion, she was coming to visit me. Our church was having a summer picnic, a big event, events for the kids, the cookout, all of the fun stuff. And at that particular event, our church decided that they would do an untraditional competition. They would do a baking competition, but not allow the women to participate. It was called the Bobby Crocker competition. Get it? Bobby Crocker. Anyway, for the women, they decided they were doing an arm wrestling competition. Now, with great disclosure, those were my ideas. I passed them off. They bought into them. But here's the best part. As I looked on the calendar, I realized that on that weekend, my mom was going to be in town. And so I signed my mom up for that arm wrestling competition. No, I didn't invite her in advance. I didn't tell her about it. I just figured when she arrived, I would kind of surprise her with this great opportunity. As she arrived, I told her about the picnic. Saturday we're going. She was excited. I said, "Oh, by the way, Mom, I've signed you up to be in the women's arm wrestling competition." She didn't bat an eye. Cool, that's fun. I didn't tell her, though, that I didn't put her full name down on the application for the competition. I created a name for her own kind of title name. She was the Michigan Mauler. Kind of helps gives you a reputation. So my mom goes to the competition. She finds herself losing in the final round. Right in the finals, woman to woman. She had won in the semifinals to a woman who was about her age, and they laughed together, and then they went on to the finals. And in the finals, my mom was senior to the woman who was her competition by probably 25 or 30 years. But here's the funny part. So my mom loses. I call my brother and I say, "Hey, when Mom returns next week, she was in this arm wrestling competition. Have some way to say, 'Welcome home, Michigan Mauler.'" And my brother went the extra mile. He put a banner that stretched across the front of their garage, and as they drove into their property on that day, it would say, "Welcome home, Michigan Mauler." But here's the best part. As we're driving home on that Saturday, my mom says, "That was really a lot of fun. Oh, and by the way, I threw the event." So what? "Yeah, I threw it. There's no reason to let a person from out of town win. I had to let the lady from your church win. So I caved." So we laughed about it. But it gets better. You see, because my mom was the Michigan Mauler, now she has forever been frozen as the Michigan Mauler. To this day, yes, to this day, some probably 30 years later, people in my social community, people that I know that know my mom, they always refer to her as the Michigan Mauler. How's the Michigan Mauler? Before her passing, it was always, "Hey, tell me how the Michigan Mauler's doing." The name stuck. My mom was the Michigan Mauler. This Mother's Day, make sure you pull out some memories with you and your mom. And if you don't have many, make some. Hey, why don't you challenge her to an arm wrestling competition? Throw it. Let her win. That's it.